Now, when Maclean's magazine political editor Paul Wells set out to write his book about Stephen Harper, he could not have possibly known what a timely release he would have for the longer I'm Prime Minister Stephen Harper in Canada. Here he is on a book tour in Calgary, day one of the Conservative Convention. The entire country buzzing about what's happening in the Senate, the scandal, what the Prime Minister knew, when he knew it, how much he knew. These are fascinating times, even if you're not a die-hard political junkie. We're very pleased to have Paul here this morning. Paul Wells, to share your thoughts. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And I was chatting with you down the hall, and you said that you and Mike Duffy concocted the whole thing.
Yeah, Duff and I, we sat down 2 years ago and said, I'll tell you what, when I finish the book, release the emails, and you get half the cut. Yeah, so it's working out well.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. In the book, it kind of goes into who Harper is and kind of how he's developed into the person that we know now, and a lot of background on him. One thing that's a common theme throughout is just how meticulous he is.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, he has his hands on just about every aspect of what comes out of his party in Ottawa. So what's he's saying right now in the House regarding the Duffy thing and the emails and the payouts, the 90K and the 13+ for legal fees, what's your take on that?
Well, Harper lost the 2004 election because he didn't, in his mind, because he didn't control his candidates enough, because he didn't control his message enough. He would try and say something about how bad the Liberals were, and then on the news there'd be one of his candidates saying things about abortion or the Charter of Rights or things like that. So since then he said, I will never speak in public without rehearsing. I will never allow anyone to speak in public on the party's behalf without clearing their message beforehand. We're going to run a tight ship here, and he really has. And that's what makes this Senate thing kind of resonate with people, is we're used to a cool, collected Stephen Harper who doesn't screw things up. But he's changing his story on this Senate affair like a weather vane. And it's now almost 6 months since this mess began. As a matter of fact, I mean, you finish a book long before it appears, but there's a good taste of this whole affair in the book because I was writing it in May and there was a lot going on, so. And then I come out for the tour at the end of October, and it's still going on. It's really quite surprising.
It's very surprising, and a lot of people are saying that Harper and the Tories are still not in front of what's happening right now.
Yeah. Now the thing that's going to happen this weekend, obviously, is the big Conservative convention. The Prime Minister speaking tomorrow, and Conservatives in town all week. I honestly think that there's going to be a surprising change of mood between the news we've been hearing and the mood at the convention. The Conservatives still have a majority. They've got 2 years before an election, and I think they feel they've got strong economic achievements that they can talk about. And so I think it'll actually be a fairly cheerful convention, and people are going to be a little surprised. But then it'll be over, and Harper's going to go back to Ottawa, and Tom Mulcair's going to just keep whacking at him with a sledgehammer. And I'm not sure how long the buzz from this weekend is going to last.
You think it'll be a bubble type thing, where it'll be like a big love fest for Prime Minister Harper and all the economic achievements that his government has made, as opposed to a realistic one?
Any government is good news, bad news.
Sure.
Canada's economic record is relatively healthier than a lot of other countries. And Conservatives who are tired of hearing the bad news, I think, are going to spend the weekend telling one another the good news. But then they're going to go back to the mix, and Tom Mulcair is not going to be congratulating them on their economic record.
There you go. Paul Wells, he's the political editor for Maclean's magazine. The book that Paul has just written, The Longer I'm Prime Minister, Stephen Harper in Canada from, well, 2006 till right now. Literally, he's still the sitting Prime Minister. Thank you for coming in. Thanks. I know you're in town the whole weekend for the convention. Enjoy your time.
Oh, I will.